What are your thoughts on monsters finishing off downed players? Is it too brutal to describe it ripping off a PC's arm or appendage? No, I do that all the time. Are you kidding me? Are you a dungeon master looking for 5th edition adventures and other pre-made resources you can use in your D&D game? If so, Lair magazine has exactly what you need. Each monthly issue of Lair magazine contains 2 5th edition adventures complete with maps for use on virtual tabletops, plus a plethora of other GM resources, new monsters, puzzles, traps, magic items, NPCs, and more. DM Lair patrons receive a new issue of Lair magazine every month and also get bonus content such as map packs and additional 5e adventures. Reduce your prep time and improve your games with Lair magazine. Become a DM Lair patron today. I literally have a group right now that's about to go to a certain place, and one of the creatures in there is one of the lieutenants. And in the encounter notes that I created for it, I have explicitly written down that this creature he wants to establish his dominance, and he wants to show these players, he wants to show the enemies that he is not to be trifled with. And so in my encounter notes, it literally says that if he reduces a character to 0 hit points and drops him, he will grab that character, fly up in the air, and begin to rip him apart, dismember him, and throw the body parts down to the ground in a display of power and dominance in order to strike fear and terror into the other characters' hearts. Like, literally, that is how I have decided to roleplay that villain. And so if somebody drops to 0, that's what's going to happen, or he's going to try to do that. And so, no, I don't think that that's a problem at all. In my case, I'm specifically doing it for roleplay reasons. I'm 100% roleplaying it. However, it is also something that powerful creatures that have been in existence for a long period of time, devils, demons, the creatures that live hundreds of years, centuries even, they have fought high-level characters before. They know that high-level characters will go down. They look like they're dead. They're not moving, but then somebody throws a healing spell at them and they get right back up. So devils and demons, creatures that have existed for a long period of time, they know this, and they will confirm the kill when it makes sense to do so. So that is one thing. The other thing is if you have enemies in combat that they observe somebody going down and then getting back up because that person cast a spell, they're going to do 2 things. 1, if somebody goes down, stab them a few times to make sure. 2, target that cleric over there who's healing everybody, because that can't keep going on. The third thing that happens in your game world as well is that as your adventuring party gets stronger and stronger and they go through more and more adventures, they get higher in level, they begin to develop renown and fame in the city, in the local area, across the kingdom, all up and down the Sword Coast. And people will hear of their exploits, and people will hear tales, and the villains will hear those tales as well. The villains will begin to learn about them. They're going to begin to learn what they're capable of, the spells they can cast. They will hear stories about how the fighter and the barbarian constantly go down, and the other person casts healing spells and gets them back up. They will know these things, they will prepare for them, and when they actually meet them in combat, they will make sure they focus fire on spellcasters, on the cleric. They will have counterspell in place, they will have dispel magic in place. They will make sure that when the barbarian goes down, 3 enemies immediately swarm him and stab the crap out of him to make sure he never gets up again. So, and these are mostly role-playing. These are role-playing. You're role-playing your enemies, your bad guys, in a logical, intelligent way that makes sense. Would you have goblins behave this way? Maybe not. They're not very intelligent. They haven't lived very long. They're not very experienced. Would you have a Merilith behave this way? Absolutely. She drops the PC, and then with 3 or 4 of her other swords, she stabs the crap out of him. All right, you're done. Goodbye. And she's going to keep rinsing and repeating that because it makes sense for a Merilith. It doesn't make sense for goblins to do that. Does it make sense for zombies to do it? No, they're unthinking undead. Does it make sense for a Death Knight to do it? Quite possibly. So these are considerations you want to take into account, and it's all based upon role-playing your creatures, your enemies, your villains. It has nothing to do with metagaming.
It has nothing to do with the Dungeon Master saying, it's not fair that the PCs just get back up again. It's not fair. I want them to die. It has nothing to do with that. It is literally you role-playing your creatures properly. And sometimes you're going to do it, and sometimes you won't. And that's the way you go about that.